Welcome back, and now we're going to talk about tips in developing self confidence. And there are a lot of tips out there, and I'm going to share with you five of the things that I use for myself. What I like about this is me walking my talk. So, let's begin with number one. Okay. So, number one, let me just get that. All right. The first one is appreciate yourself. And you see a figure there that's an 80-20 over there, right? Well, this is simply what I noticed with my experience as a coach, as a trainer for self confidence. Now, a lot of people, right? I think generally people have this default programming that they focus on the things that they don't like about themselves rather than the things that they appreciate about themselves. That's the most interesting thing that I've observed empirically from my clients, that a lot of them are automatically programmed to mostly dominate their minds with things that they don't like about themselves. They're going to say, I'm too fat. They're going to say, I'm not this good in speaking yet. They're going to say, I'm not yet rich. I'm not yet this. I'm not yet this. They keep on focusing on things that they don't have. And in my experience, if you focus on the things that you don't have, what do you think you're going to get? More of the things that you don't want, right? It's basically part of the law of attraction. And what I figured out for years is that one way to correct this is to simply start scientifically appreciating yourself. This is not just about I like myself. This is simply really putting a methodology into it. And if you can program your mind to think around 80% positive most of the time and then 20% negative, you still need the negative parts. Well, that's a time that you can simply turn your confidence around. So, one thing that we advise our students to do is they want to do it deliberately by coming up with lists, right? So, what we do is we make this as part of your day. So, we kind of make it an intentional way to appreciate yourself, kind of nudge yourself a little bit back into the appreciation mode. Normally, we only appreciate ourselves when some people say something good about ourselves. So what we do is we intentionally do that. So when you wake up in the morning, what we advise the students is to simply get a piece of paper or have a diary and then write down 5 to 10 things that they like about themselves when they wake up in the morning. For some of my clients, what I do is I allow them to text me. All right. Now, number two is during lunchtime, they simply need to write down the same thing. Well, 5 things I like about the morning so far. Now, in the evening, before you sleep, what we ask people to do is to simply write down things they're grateful for the whole day. If you can continuously do this every day, that will train your brain to focus 80% of the time on things that you have, things that you like. And that will change the way you feel about yourself. And also, that will also help you as a bonus, that will help you become focused on your opportunities as well, right? So this is a great way in order for you to develop self-confidence. This is not waiting for people to tell you that, what are the good things about you. This is you intentionally trying to put yourself into that cycle, to that momentum of appreciation. Now, I also mentioned that you need a 20%, right? Criticism or negativity. You actually need that because you can't be 100% positive all the time. There are times that you really need to be negative. There are really times that you really need to be sad, simply because of the simple fact that what would you know what you need to improve on? How would you separate happiness from sadness if you don't allow yourself to be sad 20% of the time? All right? But again, as I said, these are only during occasions. But the most dominant way you should think about yourself is simply appreciation. Moving on, moving on to number two. Okay. Well, number two is accepting yourself, or to be honest, it's not accepting who you are or what you've done. Actually, that's not the cliche acceptance I'm talking about. I'm talking about learning how to accept compliments in your life. I think for a lot of people are very awkward when it comes to accepting compliments. A lot of them. A lot of people would say, "Hey, you look good today," and you don't know how to react. Some people would say, "Are you sure?" Or "I don't know," or "Do you need anything from me?" So those are the typical responses when somebody gives you a compliment. You don't know how to handle it. No, we feel very awkward about it. And one thing I did learn when I was very, very young, when I was watching a show on Knowledge Channel, and there were a group of psychologists talking about, self confidence and accepting compliments. They said that every time you deny a compliment, every time you don't recognize that you've been complimented and you don't say thank you for it, you don't accept it. What happens to you is that your self confidence, gets lower and lower and lower until it falls asleep, until it lays down inside your subconscious mind and it doesn't wake up when you need it. So every time that somebody asks you to use it, you don't use it because it doesn't wake up. Like somebody asks you to present, somebody asks you to talk to somebody very important, and you said no to it because you're afraid. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. So it is very, very interesting, when psychologists said that. Simply because what they understood was the more that you deny yourself, the more that you put yourself down. And when you analyze yourself now, think about it. Maybe the main reason why you're not confident now or you don't have that unshakable self confidence is that you never learn how to accept compliments. Though that I'm a lot older, this was when I was 11 years old, 12. Now that I'm a lot older than 12 years old, I understood it a little bit more. Why does it destroy, or why does it make your self confidence fall asleep? It's very, very simple. Let's do an analogy. I want you to understand that compliments, let's compare it to your salary, right? Salary is a reflection of your hard work, it's a reflection of your value in the company or the value that you put in the company, right? So let's say that that's the analogy that we have. And self confidence, I mean, let's say compliments are your salary, and what is the cost of your salary? Or what is the reason you have compliments inside your life or given to you? Well, it's very simple. If salaries cost is you working hard and putting in value to the company, the compliments, their cost is simply you showing value to others. So what will happen to you? Let's say you work very, very hard. You went to the office, you're on time, you leave there, a little bit late, bring in the results that your boss wants, and then finally, it's salary day. And then, the boss is gonna give you salary. Hey, this is your salary. And then you say, no, boss, it's okay. I don't know how to handle it, so don't give it to me. Just imagine that's what you're doing with your self confidence. Every time you say no to your confidence, you're denying your salary. What will happen to you if you don't get your salary? Obviously, you're gonna suck at the end of the day, right? You won't have money to feed yourself. You won't have money to pay for your bills. You won't have money for transportation, so you just have to walk to the office. I mean, these are the things that you don't understand. That self confidence or compliments are like your salary. Every time somebody gives you a compliment, it's simply because somebody saw a value to you. Let's say you work on a certain task. Let's say your boss gave you a task on fixing something in the office, and then you did it really, really well. I mean, you worked on it. You stayed in the office for 10 hours, 12 hours for the last 3 days just to finish what your boss wanted you to do. And then your boss saw it and said, good job. This is great work. And then you don't know how to handle it. You're going to say, I don't know. Maybe I got lucky. I don't know. I mean, look at what's happening to you. You worked really hard and then you won't accept it. It's the same thing when somebody, let's say, you really fixed yourself up today. You really like You put on makeup, you spent 1 hour fixing your hair, you really ironed your clothes, you picked the best fitting clothes for you, you had a great haircut, you spent, $100 on, or, 200 pesos on your haircut, I don't know. And, somebody sees you and says, hey, you look good today. And you're going to tell the person, oh, no, 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 no. This is, nothing. Those types of responses destroy your value as a person. And if you analyze it, why? The point is, you really worked hard for you looking good. You really worked hard on your job. You really worked hard on that test. And then suddenly somebody says gonna compliment you, and then you're gonna say no. That is equivalent to you lying to yourself. Because the truth is, you really worked hard on it, and you're gonna say no to it. So think about it. You're actually lying to yourself. And question, what does lying do? Let's say when you lie to your boyfriend, when you lie to your girlfriend, what does it do? It destroys the relationship. Exactly. And that's exactly what you're doing to yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're destroying the most important relationship that you have with yourself, which is you. You're destroying your relationship with yourself. So the more that you're going to lose that self-confidence. You're putting in those emotional baggage that you do not need, in all honesty. All right, so starting today, what I want you to do is very, very simple. I want you to start saying thank you. I want you to start saying, when somebody gives you a compliment, you receive it with the whole heart. There are times that you don't need to return it. There are only times that you got to accept it, say thank you, and then acknowledge yourself that you did a wonderful job. That's something that I want you to understand today. All right, so let's move on. Number 3, next. Number 4 on our list is this one, affirmations, or learn how to affirm. Confidence is something that you have consciously, but mostly it is activated by your subconscious mind. And that is where your dreams, hopes, desires, courage sleeps, all right? And the moment that you need it, you need to wake it up. And one of the ways to wake it up is through affirmation. Affirmations are positive lines that you tell yourself, and a lot of you already know that, you've seen this, but at the end of the day, I'll explain it to you in a way that it will really work. So, affirmations are positive lines that you tell yourself. So, for example, you can keep on telling yourself, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. I am the best, I am the best, I am the best. I mean, you can tell yourself that. And here are some rules on how to do affirmations. The first one is you gotta do it like you're a parrot. You gotta repeat it over and over and over and over and over again until you come to a point that you feel that it's already embedded inside your mind. Another one is you have to use present tense. So you can't use past tense on this one. I succeeded. I succeeded. No. It has to be I am successful. I am successful. I am successful. Another rule to this is it has to feel good. So when you say I am a billionaire, I am a billionaire, or I am a multimillionaire, and it doesn't feel good, well, what you do is you change the grammatical structure, turn it into a progressive form, meaning, I use a progressive tense, meaning add ing to it. So, for example, I am becoming a millionaire, I am becoming a millionaire, I am becoming confident, I am becoming confident, I am becoming successful. And one of the scientific ways to do this also is, I learned this from Anthony Robbins. The great Anthony Robbins would tell us that he has created something he calls the hour power. Meaning, it's 1 hour that you separate, or you give yourself time to do affirmations, to do meditation, to do exercise. Just 1 hour that you will pump yourself up. And the one way to do that is to, let's say, do jogging. You keep on jogging, and then you affirm while you're jogging. It's like, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. So that starts to build up your momentum. Okay, and you gotta do it with a lot of emotional intensity. And I always do this in some of my lectures. Some people would always ask me, me being trainers to CEOs and corporate leaders and to presidents of companies, and one way that I'll tell them in terms of knowing these clients how they do affirmations is that when they do affirmations, they're very, very emotionally attached to the affirmation. So, for example, we're gonna do something that I learned from Tony Robbins. We're gonna do something called "I am the voice," and one line of that "I am the voice" affirmation, it will tell us that I am a leader. So when leaders say that, my CEO clients, when they say I am a leader, they vibrate, they turn red, they really get connected with those words. And when I ask people who attend my trainings, who are not yet at the level that a CEO is, or they're not yet at the leadership level, they're trying to aspire to be one. When I ask them to do the affirmations, they can't connect with it. They can't collect the emotional intelligence that they need in order for them to feel correct in that moment. And I think it's one of the proofs that if you want to become a leader, one of the things that you should have is high levels of emotional intelligence. That's exactly what that example that I'm giving you is showing. Leaders show a lot of emotional attachment to what they do. They put in a lot of heart with what they do. They put in a lot of their emotional investments in what they do. That's why they do it beautifully. They do it with passion. They do it with a lot of purpose. And affirmations are like that. So if you think this is some kind of voodoo magic or some mystical activity that you need to do, no, that's actually very, very scientific. The more that you do affirmations, the more that you feed yourself with positive lines over and over again, said with emotional intensity. It scientifically communicates to the subconscious mind, sometimes to the superconscious mind, and gives you that confidence, gives you that courage that you need when you need to do something. All right. So today, learn how to affirm, how that hour of power. Get a lot of great affirmations. One I recommend. When you attend our seminars, I give you a copy of my favorite self-confidence formula by Napoleon Hill. Sometimes we call it the Winner's Creed. That's a beautiful one. Also, some great poems like the Invictus. I'm sure you've heard that there's a movie. But when I was younger, when we were doing a lot of public speaking activities, when we were doing a lot of poetry reading, and this would always come up, the Invictus. So that's a great way to actually motivate yourself. I think the great late President Nelson Mandela had that in his mind every day when he was in prison for I think 20 years, 25 years. And when he came out of prison, he wasn't angry at all. And when he came out, he said, let's just get everybody together. And he said that Invictus guided him to be in that right mindset. So affirmations are very, very powerful. And I hope you learn how to do them.